examine life is not worth living, Plato says in line 38a of the Apology. How do you examine yourself? What happens when you interrogate yourself? What happens when you begin to call into question your tacit assumptions and unarticulated presuppositions and begin then to become a different kind of person? See, I put it this way, that for me, philosophy is fundamentally about our finite situation. And we can define that in terms of we're beings toward death, we're featherless, two-legged, linguistically conscious creatures born between urine and feces, whose body will one day be the culinary delight of terrestrial worms. That's us. We're beings toward death. At the same time, we have desire, why we are organisms in space and time, and so it's desire in the face of death. And then, of course, you've got dogmatism, various attempts to hold on to certainty, various forms of idolatry. And you've got dialogue in the face of dogmatism. And then, of course, structurally and institutionally, you have domination. And you have democracy. You have attempts of people trying to render accountable elites, kings, queens, suzerains, corporate elites, politicians, try to make these elites accountable to everyday people. So philosophy itself becomes a critical disposition of wrestling with desire in the face of death, wrestling with dialogue in the face of dogmatism, and wrestling with democracy, trying to keep alive very fragile democratic experiments in the face of structures of domination, patriarchy, white supremacy, imperial power, state power, all those concentrated forms of power that are not accountable to people who are affected by it.
So, can you hear me well?
And you can speak to me. So
good, very good. Wonderful. Okay. So I was trying to figure out what you were getting me into here and how we're implicated in this walk. I was going to interview you and ask you what you thought you were doing.
I'm specifically thinking about the challenge of making a film about philosophy, which obviously has a spoken element, but is typically written. And book form allows you to explore something so in depth, 300, 400, 500 pages, exploring a single concept. Whereas